Hello, I am your favorite sexpert, the Erica Rivera, and you're watching Sexpertease, the program that is sex positive and educational, where we aim towards keeping your marriages exciting and single people safe. Today we'll be talking about a Japanese term, Fujoshi, which largely refers to women who are considered dedicated fans of BL media, and our special guest today is an American Fujoshi and the artist behind Rotten Girl Gang, an online shop and convention table based out of Orlando, Florida. Please welcome Ringo-Chan.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh my
Thank you
God.
for being here.
I'm so excited to be here.
So I take it this is your first time on something like this, yes?
Yes, oh my gosh, never. I was
Yeah.
so excited when I got asked to do this.
Well, I'm so happy to have you, especially to talk about a term that many people may not be super familiar with. So
Mhm.
thank you so much for bringing us some insight on this.
Mhm.
So, for those who may not be familiar, can you explain what it means to be Fujoshi and how this identity has evolved over the years?
Yeah, so a Fujoshi is, as you said, like a woman who loves BL or yaoi, which is another term I'll be using interchangeably. Um, it started originally as like a slur aimed at women who liked yaoi by Japanese men, and then it kind of got reclaimed over the years. It means, like, when you look at the actual uh, kanji of it, right? It means rotten woman, and it's
Oh,
like a play, kind of like a play on words. Fujoshi with a different fu character. Like I can't explain them exactly, but
right.
um, it's like a homophone character, right? Um,
Hmm.
with the original character, it just means like a distinguished woman or like a lady, you know. And they switched that character to a different food that means rotten, and so they started aiming that at fans of yaoi, and then eventually the women who were being called this decided they would reclaim it, and they turned it around. They started using still the rotten character, but they used
Right.
its secondary, like a secondary meaning of it, which means to like ferment, like wine.
Right.
And they started saying, well, we're distinguished women who know that it's better if we change the original source material. So we're consuming a more fermented and like a better
I, lo-
version
I
of the
love that.
material. Yeah. So they were able to turn it around and start to use it as like a badge of honor instead. And now you probably see like Japanese fans using like even just the character for rotten on their
Yeah.
profile to like say that's what I am.
I love how they twisted, like they turned a negative thing
Yeah.
into basically a positive, like almost like
Yeah,
empowering term for that
exactly.
identity. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that, and I so like identify with that idea of like, like we're the I'm like the enlightened ones almost
Yeah,
like,
yeah. So
but
you were
yeah,
using that how is it yaoi? Is that how you
yeah,
pronounce it?
yes,
Okay, so
yeah,
that is another term for BL. Can you explain
yeah,
to our audience what BL is? Because I noticed we neither of
yes.
us said what that is.
We did not cover that. So
Yeah.
yes, BL is boys love. It's just the B and L, and that's kind of like an overall term for you know fan material, I guess. So fan art, fan fiction, etc. That involves boys loving boys. So it's
Okay.
male shipping, basically. Shipping is when you basically, I would consider it when you support the relationship between two characters, and in this case they'd be two male characters.
Two male
Um,
characters.
yeah, so you would so Fujoshi like to create media of
Yeah.
like fan media of the media that they are watching, involving two boys. And yaoi itself is a term that originally, um, it's well, I guess to backtrack a little bit,
Yeah.
yaoi in general kind of came into being in like the 70s, late 70s. Um, Actually, late, I could go all the way back to the 60s technically, but mostly in the 70s basically. In the West, it was mostly the first kind of slash ship, at least that's what they call it here. Slash ship was Kirk and Spock for Star Trek, So that was huge
Really?
thing here. Yeah, yeah, that's like the like
Wow.
well documented like first yaoi ship in the West, pretty crazy.
That
And you
is.
can find
It
yeah.
makes me feel like we might have audience members that maybe had like were a fan of that
Uh-huh.
and
Yeah.
didn't maybe know that it was called what it is.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, so and then in Japan and in the East there it mostly would be manga and anime ships. So um but yeah, so the originally like the term yaoi came into use by doujinshi authors. There's so many words I have to explain. I'm so
no,
sorry.
it's okay.
But
It's okay. This is a learning
yeah,
experience.
yeah, doujinshi is basically like Japanese fan works. So it's like fan made, usually manga, like fan made manga. So fan comics. If manga isn't it, I don't know how much our audience knows, but yes, fan comics, and the people publishing those fan comics started using the term yaoi kind of as a like self-deprecating term. It's actually like an acronym almost. It
Right.
means Yamanashi, Ochinashi, Iminashi, and it basically means like no climax, no point, no meaning. That's like the joke is that it's just kind of silly, pointless, frivolous artwork that they're making. It has nothing to do with the plot. It's just shipping. They're just having a good time. And that's kind of like the overall, at least to me, like the overall mentality of this is that it's like it's for fun. Like,
It is. It is.
yeah.
Well, and this is Sexpertise after all. So I am
Mhm.
glad that we defined that it is boys love,
Yes.
because in other types of media, we talk so much about. So you and I actually met at a convention. So I wanted to ask, at conventions, at fandom communities, sometimes those events can be intimidating for newcomers. How do you ensure that your brand and your table creates a welcoming and safe environment for those who may be still like exploring their identities, exploring Fujoshi? How do you make it a welcoming experience?
Yeah, so I mean, you can imagine like with terms like these, there's going to be some criticisms, and fujoshi is a term that has been like I mean, originally it was a slur, and it is a term that still is kind of misunderstood in the West and often like derided. And my table is meant to be like a safe space for anybody who's into this kind of thing, to really like just be themselves and like the stuff that they like without feeling that they're being like judged for it,
Right.
because there is so much judgment, especially on the internet now. Like nowadays, there's just so much like negativity and fandom and like all sorts of like horrible like callouts and I just really like bullying online.
A
And
lot.
I feel yes so much. And so I feel like making this table was my way of saying that like it doesn't matter what you're into. This is all for fun. This is fandom. It's meant to be fun. So I wanted to make it a place where everybody can feel like they're represented and accepted and safe there.
Yeah, and I feel like your table is pretty loud about that. At least
Yes.
when I was walking by it, I couldn't not go to your table.
It's pretty crazy. Every time I'm setting up, I have to like warn the people around me, being like, "It's pretty crazy. Like, get ready. Like, this is
Fair
the most onion
warning.
table." Yeah, fair warning. It's
Yes,
pretty
as
crazy.
soon as I saw actually the shirt that you're wearing
Yes,
now, I saw those up pretty high
on
and your
display.
the tote bag. As soon as I saw
Yes,
like normalizing, I'm like, okay, what are we normalizing? I have to
we
find that.
are. Yes, this is what I call the five virtues of fandom. It's just a bunch of terms that get thrown at Fujoshi as a as like again like slurs. They're like you're doing all of these horrible things, and I'm like, I'm gonna wear that proudly and say,
Yeah.
all this crazy stuff that you're accusing us of doing. What if it actually doesn't matter because this is all just fiction and we're just having fun? So that's kind of the idea that I'm like pushing with the table,
Yeah.
and yeah.
And that kind of goes with my next question, actually.
Mm,
I read on your site that you emphasize the freedom of expression. It
mm,
shouldn't be a thing of the past. We should still be able
yes.
to express ourselves. So, how does your brand support and promote it through your products and your community interactions? Because I know you have a
Yeah.
slew of things that you have in your shop.
Yes, so many things. But yeah, like I personally, I grew up in the like wild west of the early internet in the like 90s and early 2000s. And like back then, everybody was just completely unhinged and like just they liked whatever they liked. And like the most warning you would get is a like, if you don't like it, don't look. So,
Yeah.
I've even made a magnet of that. So don't like, don't look. And that's kind of like, again, like what I'm doing with the table. And I just want to bring that mentality back, the having fun mentality, bring fun back to fandom.
Right.
Um,
It shouldn't be something you're
and
scared of expressing. It should always
no,
be
no,
a fun thing.
yeah, and to bring that to sexuality and everything. It's like like in the internet back then, the a lot of the criticism was ew gay stuff, right? And now that we've got past that, thank God. Like we've
Thank
gotten past
God.
that point. But now it's like, oh, you like the stuff that I like the things that I don't like. You're romanticizing or whatever things that I don't like, and then it gets very like that. But yeah, like at my table and my stuff, I'm like, no matter what you like, you're gonna be accepted for it. And you know, I just want to, I want everybody to have fun and like the things that they like, even if it's considered problematic, because it's not
Yeah.
hurting anyone. You're just having fun.
And I like that you have different products for different types of identities too. Like obviously
Yes.
today we're kind of focused on Fujoshi, but you had products for all sorts of things. I'm gonna go ahead and show some of
Yeah. Go
the
ahead.
stickers that I got from you when we met.
Yes.
I absolutely love these. So let's see if the camera can catch it. FBI. It says Femboy Body Inspector.
Yeah, like
So
my merch is all meant to be like humorous. A lot of it is kind of like fandom in jokes kind of stuff. References to like older jokes too. So a lot of people come up and be like, "Oh my god, I can't believe that you made this in 2024!" Like for some old meme.
I
And
love it though.
thank you.
And then I also got this, which is actually it's actually you. This is you.
That's me. Yes, that's Ringo-Chan. But
Look
yeah,
at
this
the
yeah,
glasses.
she got this
Like
the
little
otaku. I call these the otaku glasses. And yeah, so I have that for Fujoshi, but I also have other identities like Yume Joshi, which is a girl who likes to ship herself with characters, like fictional characters, and like Hime Joshi, which is a girl who likes Yuri, which is the other term, the term for basically a girl's love. So girl like lesbian stuff, right?
yes, yes.
I have like a whole set of buttons that's I have some of them here I can show. This one's
Yeah.
classic yaoi, right? And then I have like a bunch of variations of it. So, this one is really popular, trans yaoi for people who like yaoi between trans boys. We got tragic yaoi for people who like the
Oh,
sad stuff. Toxic yaoi, sometimes it's a toxic ship. We got bad things going on, but it's
yep.
fun. We got twin yaoi, sometimes
I'm
that's your thing. Like old man yaoi, very popular, very popular. We got lesbian yaoi is just a joke on Yuri.
You
All
literally
sorts of
have
stuff.
everything. Ah,
We got
that's
everything. So no matter what you're into, I'm like, you've got a place here, and that's what fandom is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a place for the people who like even the weirdest stuff to find community, and that's what I love about it.
I think that's so cool because I feel like because you have something that caters literally to everyone, you're almost giving everyone the space to be vocal about it because
Yeah,
even though there's a lot of hate, there's a lot of people that may say like, ew, you like this, you like that.
yeah,
There's probably more people than we think that are into each of those things, but have
mhm,
been too scared to talk about it since it's not
yeah,
very common. And by you having these products accessible, they have a way to show it off comfortably, to have a voice.
yeah.
You're just saying what everyone is thinking. I mean,
Yes. Oh my
really.
gosh. And I get that all the time. Like I get people coming up and asking me first of all, like, has anyone given you, crap about this? Like, has anyone said anything? And I'm like, no, like no one has. Like everybody is instead thanking me. Like they'll come up and be like, I'm so glad that you have this represented here.
Right.
And like I was afraid to say this around my friends, and like now, I feel empowered to do that.
Yeah.
And to just like the things that I like and not be scared.
And that's the thing is like, especially if it's not something that's common, someone may not think that there is a place for it. And you're
Mhm.
you're basically saying yes, there is. Because
Yeah.
someone, I mean, I know when I was younger, and became a fan of Fujoshi.
Mhm.
I didn't know that there was a word for it. I didn't know
Mhm.
that there was a term, that it was even something to be normalized. And there may be
Mhm.
people out there that feel the same, that maybe, is there something wrong with me because I'm into this or I'm into this?
Yeah.
You
Oh
know,
my gosh.
and you're kind of, I want to commend you because you're giving people
Thank you.
the opportunity to say, no, that there's nothing wrong with it. And there are people like yourself who also exist, and we can be a community. And that's amazing in itself.
Yes,
Um,
exactly.
so,
Thank
and
you.
yeah, and that brings me into the sexual health aspect.
Yeah.
Do you see a connection between this fandom engagement that we're talking about and sexual health education?
No, absolutely.
How can participating in these fandom communities help people learn about themselves and their relationships?
Yes, oh my gosh. So, like, I mean, even at the most basic level, like, I didn't even know gay people existed until I discovered yaoi. I was raised Catholic, so
Oh
I didn't know
my gosh.
anything. So, yeah, I'm like, I was like 12 years old. I find pictures of my favorite anime boys kissing, and I was like, this boys can kiss, like I was like, this exists, like this is crazy. And then like that led to, I don't know, this is a little like silly hearing it now, but I mean when I was 12 years old, that was a long time ago, like gay
Yeah.
marriage was not legal. And like at that point I started realizing, wait, like these are like, why couldn't they get married, like why not, like I was like suddenly realizing these things. And like it was what led me to being an outspoken queer activist like I am now. But so that was like my first foray into sexuality at all. Like I didn't even know. Like I knew nothing.
Wow.
So but that aside, like just I think that like yaoi is like very especially important to women, and also like people who start as women, or at least start thinking that they're women, because it becomes like this whole journey of discovery. Because once you start using, like making fan works like this, you get to explore your own sexuality and your own gender in ways that like nothing else really can let you do. So by writing these things, you can explore yourself. So it's like
Right.
the anime boys or whatever that you're using become your avatar to explore yourself, and it's like so incredible.
And it's a safe way to kind of experience
Yes.
that self-discovery.
Yeah. So like for example, like I okay, so I know many people who discovered that they were trans through yaoi, right? So they started writing from a boy's point of view and realized that's my point of view. I'm a boy, right? So that's like a huge thing that I know tons of trans men who are into yaoi and discover their gender through yaoi. And it's same thing for, it doesn't have to be like, you don't have to turn out that you're trans. A lot of women, just by getting to explore like the idea of two men, like it's like basically the patriarchy exists.
Yeah.
And women often feel like pressured by that. And so like for me, like as a woman under the patriarchy, using two men as my avatars, it became like like it puts them on an even playing ground. That's kind of like a thing that a lot of people say about it. And like so now it feels like a safe place to explore your like place in all of that, and
Yeah.
like how relationships, like what you would want in an ideal relationship, or it's like I don't even know how to explain it.
It's
It's just
almost
amazing.
like, I mean, it sounds to me like you're able to role play different
Yes.
characters until you find something that you can relate to.
Mhm.
That's what it's sounding like to me.
Yeah.
And I think I
Yeah.
can agree with that, and
Yeah.
it's definitely a safe way to explore some of
Mhm.
these curiosities without harming anyone,
Yes,
without,
exactly.
yeah. Do you want
Yeah.
to
So
elaborate on that a little bit?
yes, I can. Like in yaoi, there's a lot of like we were saying before that it gets a lot of flack for having a lot of problematic tropes, right? Like
Yeah,
the twin the twin yaoi, right? That's very common. It's in mainstream anime all the time. Like different like so incest, or like tropes like non-con is what it's called in
right.
fiction, which is like a rape fetish basically, and that's a very common kink, right?
Yeah,
But yaoi, it tends to be a place where a lot of women will explore that, right? because it removes you out of the picture of it. So if it's something that scares you in real life, like rape is something that we, that women have to fear as a basic,
And it
fear
is. It's
in
definitely
life.
scary. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely scary. But by putting it in this fictional context of yaoi and have the seme rape the uke is like a way to explore that
Right.
safely. Seme and uke is top and bottom.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's the thing is like, for our audience, obviously we're not condoning rape, but we're
Of course
saying that
not.
there are different, right, right. But what we're saying is it's called a fantasy for a
Yes,
reason,
for a
you know.
reason.
So if someone is fantasizing about something that may not be, I guess, normalized, and
Mhm.
it's this is a safe way to kind of explore those
Yeah.
feelings without having to actually do them. This is, when we're talking about this context, these are stories, fictional characters, these are, movies, dramas, we imagine these things and we're talking about role playing as a certain character to see
Mhm.
what resonates with us. It doesn't
Mhm.
mean that we're condoning any type of behavior. It
No,
just means
of course not.
we're exploring the emotional side of these things.
Yes, exactly. And like there's so many aspects to all those things. Like you hear rape top level, but it's like the actual like details of that is it's like it's playing with power dynamics, it's playing with, all of these different
Correct.
things. And like, like the like the again like the incest one, it's like it's playing with like these ideas of like, bonds between people and all this stuff and like taboos and all of that. That's all just basic sexuality. This is like sexuality 101.
Right.
Like and this is like one of the easiest ins, like I feel like yaoi is like a really accessible, easy way to start exploring these like topics of taboo, topics of gender, topics of
Yeah.
sexuality, all these things.
And so I'm imagining that your involvement has influenced your own personal relationships as well.
Absolutely. I mean, I discovered everything through this kind of thing. Like my entire sexuality is based in fiction and fantasy, and this has been, over like, since the time, like I said, I discovered it when I was like 12, right? Like from then to now, like I still use yaoi as like my main outlet for these things, for me to discover things, to explore things, to connect with other people about it. To because you kept mentioning role playing, I do role play with other people, and through role playing these fictional characters, we can, like first of all have fun. That's the main thing is having fun. It's for fun, but also, like you're exploring these deeper parts of yourself the whole time. It's amazing.
Yeah, and I think it's important to for any couples that are watching, maybe your partner may be into this and it's something you've never heard of, use it as an opportunity to explore each other's interests and to also explore the other person's curiosity. Like I think it's a great bonding moment, to be
Yes,
honest. I mean, there's
definitely.
there's just so much that you can explore just within this type of fandom engagement. Like
Hmm.
and it's a whole nother world. I think
Yeah,
it's fantastic,
it's
but
an amazing world that I've been a part of for so long, and I love with all my heart. And that's why I hate to see so much bullying
yeah.
going on. And like, I really just want to bring it back to that like fun escape from everything that I used to use it as a kid.
Mhm.
And like, it was just it's amazing. And I think that yes, for couples, like find if you find that your partner is into this kind of thing, find out what kind of tropes they like. Ask them why they like it. Like ask them, get deeper in it. Like ask like when you look at the archive of our own, I'm gonna say hi, archive of our own, you're the best. Is the website where everybody posts their fan fiction, right?
Yeah.
It's like the best website for it. It has like an amazing like tagging system. Yeah, so like look through those tags, like ask them what do you like about this and this and this, and then you can find out so much like deeper things about a person just through the kind of things that they're drawn to in fiction.
Maybe I could have you back and we can focus on some of those types of stories,
I
and
would
dig deeper
love
into that.
that.
Yeah. I
I'm
think
super into it.
yeah, I think that would be amazing because Archive of Our Own I have heard of. Um,
Yes.
there's a lot of K-pop fandom shipping over
Yes,
there too.
there are the RPF. Yes,
So,
I've got some of my merch references AO3 directly since it's amazing. And this
love
this one has
it.
all of the warnings because they have like a warning system. So all the naughtiest things will get listed as warnings, and I'm there for all of it, man. Like, but put all the warnings on. I'll read it.
So how can this has been just awesome. How can people
Yeah.
stay in touch with you then and find out more about not just your brand, but Fujoshi, all the things?
Yes, I mean, I would like to also shout out to Fujoshi.info website, which is a great website for people to learn more about this if they want to. And then my website is rottengirlgang.com. And you can find everything there, my social media, my shop, information on the latest conventions that I'll be at, and all of that. So you can find me there.
Thank you so much for being here today. I cannot show my appreciation more. This has been a very insightful conversation, and I'm just grateful, really grateful
So
that you were
I'm
here.
so grateful to you. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. And for those of you that are watching us, please visit rottengirlgang.com. Make sure to catch them at one of the conventions and
Yeah.
continue to stay curious, stay informed, and stay you. Thank you.